So many people stay stuck in this one question. Why are they like this? Why did the person who was supposed to love me the most make me feel the smallest? Today, we're answering that question, not to excuse what they did, not to say poor them, but to finally understand how narcissists are made and how you can finally break their hold on your mind. Welcome to From Heart to Success, where we don't gaslight ourselves anymore. In today's episode, we'll explore what childhood experiences shaped narcissistic behavior, why shame is the hidden engine behind their cruelty, and how the film Precious shows us what happens when pain turns inward and when it gets weaponized against others. Let's begin with a myth that keeps so many of us trapped. They were always like this, they're just evil, end of story. But psychology and stories like Precious tell a more complicated truth. Narcissists aren't born cruel, they become that way, as a response to deep, early wounds. In Precious, we meet Clarice, a 16-year-old girl who has suffered unimaginable abuse at the hands of her parents. But let's focus on her mother, Mary. Mary is angry, bitter, manipulative, and relentlessly cruel. She humiliates Clarice, gaslights her, blames her for being abused by her father, and all the while Mary sees herself as the victim. Sound familiar? Mary is a portrait of a narcissistic mother, one driven by rage and shame, incapable of seeing her daughter as anything but a threat to her fragile identity. But here's the deeper layer. Mary wasn't born a monster. She likely was once a girl like Clarice, invisible, unprotected, emotionally starved. She didn't learn how to be emotionally safe, so she became emotionally dangerous. This is where narcissism often begins. In childhood homes where love was conditional, emotions were ignored, and survival meant wearing a mask. Let's look at the emotional blueprint that creates narcissism. 1. Emotional neglect and conditional love. Narcissists often grow up in homes where love had to be earned. Vulnerability was punished. They had to become useful to be seen. They become chameleons, seeking external validation while suppressing their true self. Mary, for example, places all blame on Clarice because she can't hold space for her own shame. Her self-worth depends on controlling others, not being accountable. In psychological terms, she's projecting her pain because she never learned to process it. 2. Toxic shame and identity fragmentation. At the root of narcissism is shame, a belief that I am unworthy, bad, broken. To escape this unbearable feeling, they construct a false self, one that appears strong, admired, powerful, but inside is hollow. In Precious, we see both sides of this dynamic. Clarice internalizes her pain, believing she's worthless. Mary externalizes it, making everyone else feel worthless instead. 2 opposite reactions to the same trauma. One becomes the scapegoat, the other becomes the abuser. You might be asking, if narcissism is a response to pain, why didn't I become one? That's a beautiful, important question. This leads to one of the most heartbreaking truths. Not every wounded child becomes a narcissist. Some become hyper-empaths. Some become people-pleasers. Some become overgivers. Some become self-sacrificing to survive. Some, like Clarice, carry the shame instead of inflicting it. So why the difference? These are opposite responses to the same pain. Where the narcissist builds a wall and denies vulnerability, the empath absorbs pain and tries to fix others to feel safe. It comes down to a mix of temperament, attachment style, role models, and what survival strategy felt safest. Mary survived by controlling, manipulating, and blaming. Clarice survived by enduring, dissociating, and hoping. And if you're watching this, chances are you were a child like Clarice. You absorbed the pain instead of passing it on. You tried to earn love by fixing others, instead of demanding you be loved for who you are. That's not weakness. That's strength that hasn't learned how to protect itself yet. Let's talk about intergenerational trauma. In Precious, we don't just see abuse, we see a cycle. Mary was likely humiliated, neglected, or abused as a child. She never healed. So instead of facing her pain, she made someone else carry it, her daughter. This is how narcissistic patterns pass through generations. Pain isn't healed, it's weaponized. Feelings aren't expressed, they're dumped on others. Children aren't nurtured. They're used to fill emotional voids, and the cycle repeats until someone says, no more. Clarice starts breaking the cycle by telling the truth, seeking connection, choosing her own story. That's what healing looks like. It's messy, painful, uncertain, but it's the beginning of freedom. Let me be crystal clear. Understanding a narcissist's pain doesn't excuse their abuse, but it helps you stop personalizing it. It helps you realize their coldness was never about your worth. Their control was never about your flaws. Their rage was never about you being too sensitive. It was about them not knowing how to face their shame, so they made you feel it instead. Their rage isn't about you, it's about their pain. Their blame is a projection of inner shame. Their manipulation is a survival tool, not proof you're crazy. The more you understand, the less power they hold. This is what Precious makes so vivid. You feel how twisted and wrong it is to put that weight on a child. And yet, so many of us carried it. That's why telling these stories, yours, mine, and Clarice's, is so important. They remind us the pain didn't start with you, but the healing, that's yours now. So if you've ever asked yourself, why are they like this? Now you know they were shaped by shame. But you don't have to carry their pain anymore. Comment below. Did someone in your life make you feel responsible for their emotions, for their rage, for their shame? Let's talk about it. Want to go deeper? Before you go, make sure you watch the previous chapters in this Narcissism 101 series, where I tell you what narcissism really is and isn't, and who is narcissist and who is just a jerk. Each one builds the foundation of truth and clarity you need to finally release the shame they put on you. Hit subscribe, tap the bell so you don't miss the next episode. My deep dive on trauma bonds and why it's so hard to walk away. Share this video with someone who needs clarity, and never forget, you are not broken, you're becoming, and you are not alone. From my heart to yours. See you in the next chapter. Keep rising. In case no one told you today, heart riser, but I want you to know you're not broken, you're healing, and you are worthy of the love you've always given to others.